So, before we get into things, we just want to clarify some housekeeping stuff. Our uploads for FluffBite Presents, our titular essay series, will now be every other Sunday, and FluffVlogs don't have a dedicated day yet, but will happen every week. We might start doing smaller videos too, but we have to get ahead of our content a bit before we do that. The second part of our Last of Us 2 essay, however, will drop whenever we finish it, as we're working on something else for our next FluffBite Presents on the 12th, but don't want to wait till the end of the month to release it. So that will be just a treat. It may post before the 12th, but it's too early to tell right now. Our Twitch schedule, however, won't be changing. We are making videos for Patreon as well. Video essays there will be only for the highest tier we have, but any other video content we put in our Patreon will be for all the tiers. Oh right, Patreon tiers. There's 3 tiers. Praxis Shroud for 3 monies, which will get your name in the credits of our essays. Then there's Esper Shroud for 11 monies, which will give you the chance to vote on our upcoming video topics. The first poll will be for our essay at the end of July. And finally, the highest tier, Regressive Shroud, for 30 monies. And it gives you the ability to see our Patreon exclusive video essays, which will lean more towards things that our channel focuses less on, and stuff that we expect to get copyright claims on if uploaded to YouTube, and any other side projects we might be working on. We will likely add something else to this tier once we figure out what will work best. The Patreon is to support our continued existence, but if we do get stable enough, we will be putting some of that back into our channel. Regardless though, we really appreciate any support you give us. Even views, likes, shares, and whatnot are totally awesome. Thank you so much. And to the folks who asked us about starting a Discord server, we hear you. And there will be one once we have the extra spoons to make sure we can handle the extra responsibility. And last thing, on July 11th, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be celebrating our birthday by live streaming the game Crosscode here on YouTube. Then at 8:30 we'll be moving over to Twitch to stream Purrfect Apawcalypse over on our Twitch channel. It will be awesome to see you folks there for either of them. Okay, that's all the housekeeping I think. Video making is becoming a hardwired habit for us, and oh gosh has it been great, but we've been pushing ourselves a bit too hard, and it shows in our upload inconsistency. We're usually working on essays the day of, and oh gosh is it grueling. Even though making our stuff is fun and fulfilling, we realized that we needed to get some more self-discipline. And that may sound like we're calling ourselves lazy or something, but we're totally not. Originally, we were gonna just take a week off, but then it dawned on us that not working on YouTube content for a week would just reset the situation, and that fits it. But spacing out our major uploads should do the trick. It's funny, many YouTubers talk about burnout and stress of being a content creator, but those conversations are usually more general. Like, as a disabled person, it's hard to find a work-life balance under capitalism for sure. Many YouTubers we watch bring up their mental health from time to time, but because of the manicured nature of making things for an audience, sometimes it's hard to remember that a person struggles as much as they do. Kinda how, like, in real life, you'll only know how much someone is going through if they tell you. On the internet, the person gets to control what people see, so a creator doesn't usually look as off as they might feel. That doesn't mean everything is fake though. Philosophy 2, for example, even covers this phenomenon in one of his videos. When we saw it a year ago, we never imagined we'd be applying the same logic to our content. There is a lot of pressure with this job, and because of our new vantage point, we see other creators with new eyes. 2 weeks ago, we mentioned on here that DigiNay, an AniTuber who recently came out as trans, has really inspired us with her coming out. And it made us think of her in a new way. And now we see her videos getting a lot more criticism, as well as the quite frankly expected misgendering and being labeled crazy for her sudden change in content. And oh snap was it a heel turn. She's been posting a lot more lately, like several uploads a day a lot, but there has been a lot of unscripted and unedited content, mostly to get old content she's never released off her mental shelf. However, a lot of her fans are leaving because of it, some respectfully and some not. And it was an interesting situation to see the comments raining down in real time. It's not a great situation to be in for sure, but has thinking about expectation, fulfillment, and making a living with art. And of course how our audience would take us slowing down our content. If you look at content creator tips about YouTube and Twitch, and you don't like the commodification of humans, you're gonna have a bad time. The jargon is kinda dehumanizing, and plenty of folks who make videos educating on content creation acknowledge it. It's jargon couched in economics terminology and is unfortunately a byproduct of capitalism. because personalities and people are a commodity. But as dehumanizing as these things can be, it seems to be on the right track. After all, we're all slaves to the algorithm, or at least vulnerable to it. So now when we look at content creators taking chances, we see it as a lot more endearing, because it can very well put your livelihood on the line. It's scary. But we're learning through seeing other content creators doing their thing, even if some of it is negative experiences that they're having. Though obviously, big content creators are playing under a lot of different rules than someone is at our level. It's like comparing Kick-Ass to Daredevil. Kinda different comic books. One thing that's been a major disappointment with us, with trying to navigate content creation, are the lack of resources that talk about being a content creator with mental illness. Which is a shame, since there is likely a disproportionate amount of content creators who have to navigate their work and their health more meticulously than their neurotypical counterparts. Some folks don't have as many options for work, especially the more marginalized the creator is. So being neurodivergent ourselves, we have to remind ourselves that even on YouTube, the world isn't made for us. For example, a lot of YouTubers talk about sleepless nights working on content, but we will just crash if we do that, and be too tired to work for half of the next day. It's like we have a built-in bedtime off switch. It gets kind of annoying. My point is, not everyone can brute force content creation. Not to say that that's healthy for anyone, but for some, it's not viable at all. So we have to plan out our process around what times will even be functional. It's so exciting! Like a video game. Well, anyway, this was the scripted portion. We're still working out the kinks for how FluffVlogs will work out from now on. So, yeah, figuring it out as we go. Hey there, it's FluffVlog again. This is the regular part of a FluffVlog now, where we're going to be playing a game and talking about some things that we recorded, but isn't strictly scripted. We're playing Into the Breach, which is a tactical kaiju fighting game. Think like Pacific Rim, but like as like XCOM light. And we have our team set up already. It's a really fun game, and it's one of our favorites, so we thought it would be easy to do. So, have you heard of the birthday blues? It's this thing where around your birthday you get really sad. And we were doing some research online, and we found out that it's actually a little bit common. That there are a lot of people who get sad around their birthday. I mean, there's plenty of reasons, and we've known people who get sad around their birthday, but we are definitely one of them. And especially with all the isolation and stuff, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for our birthday, and then I was like, oh, we should stream. And we even seen other streamers do that, which we thought was actually a really cool idea. And we really like the idea of streaming a video game that is new, because we get really excited about video games during like around our birthday month, because since it's July, a lot of interesting video games come out, but not necessarily really big ones, because the fall is really historically big for video game releases. And apparently suicides go up for elderly people around their birthdays, because as you get older, it still just reminds you of just like, I guess, the impending death, I guess. There's like one maybe study talking about it that we found in this junk article trying to help people with birthday depression, which wasn't like fully not helpful, because it's like, oh, like write down things that you've learned in the last year and what you look forward to and what you want to change. It's like, it sounds like you're just changing birthdays into New Year's and New Year's resolutions. Oh, I overshot. Good thing there's a reset. We're actually used to having really big birthdays. When we were a kid, it was like a big deal. When we hit puberty, we started being treated like a boy and like was spoiled less, and it was from like huge birthday parties with a bunch of people in our backyard and like a clown or something, to like, okay, you can invite some friends over, you can have some cake, you can hang out, and then they gotta go. But we ended up having like these really big parties a lot, and even got to the point where even living after college, and away from where we grew up, one of our parents would fudging Skype us and show us a bunch of our friends blowing out a birthday cake or something. It only happened once, but it was like, oh gosh, this is a really big deal. And well, that's not a thing anymore, especially because disowned by family or whatever. But we got sad around our birthday way before that was ever a thing anyway. I guess I'm just gonna let that house blow up. Sorry, house. Or building. But something interesting about just interesting things coming out around our birthdays, we started like trying to figure out what game each year like we should get, because it was kind of a freebie, and sometimes our parents were really particular and wouldn't buy certain games. So it was like, okay, this is my chance to get pretty much any game I want outside of Grand Theft Auto. Our parents didn't care about what games we played other than Grand Theft Auto, just because it had the name Grand Theft Auto, not necessarily because what it was about. Which is like 5 different kinds of ridiculous, in my opinion. And even to this day, we try to see what games we want to play on our birthday, and we came up with Crosscode because it's having a release on consoles on July 9th, which is like right before our birthday, so why not, right? And then also it just seemed really up our alley. It's a top-down action RPG. It actually reminds us like of Hyper Light Drifter, but if it was like more anime. It looks really fun. And we've actually never did a live stream on YouTube, so that will be interesting. If anyone has questions that they want to ask during that stream, feel free to ask. We might also answer some of the comments from some of our older videos as well. We really wanted to avoid burning out because we wanted to keep making content. And we have people in our lives who we've talked to about it, and they're like, oh, like, just take your time, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I don't have to stop all at once or super accelerate. Good to remember. So that's part of why the upload schedule thing is even a thing. Sometimes it's good to ask for help, sometimes it's good to get a second opinion. I just realized that I'm not gonna finish the freezing both robots of the mission because it's the last turn. But that's okay. But the concept of burnout is actually really familiar to us because we're autistic. Oh, that's gonna suck. And we've had to deal with autistic burnout, which can last for a long time. And we actually went like a year not being employed at all because like everything was on full volume, sensory stuff, emotional stuff. It was just couldn't take it. It was probably at the beginning of this year that we were kind of coming out of it, but kind of still being scared and not taking chances. And YouTube has been pretty good for us, having a sort of schedule. It's nice to have consistency, that's for sure. We can destroy the robots for this mission. But we don't want to put ourselves in that position again of like feeling so out of it that we can't do anything, because doing just even a little bit a day is like way better than doing nothing. At this point, it's not even as much about productivity as just like getting the thing done. What was it? Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec said, you know, it's better to whole ass one thing than a half ass two things. We thought about that for a long time, but actually have recently got into do the thing even halfway, because at least you did some of it instead of none of it. Because if you stress out about overdoing it and doing it perfectly and finishing it in one go, then your anxiety can stop you from even trying. And we've definitely had analysis paralysis and stuff like that before, so we definitely don't want to deal with that again. Self-care is important to help with burnout, and I think that's one thing we've been doing pretty good with, the self-care and stuff. That's why stream stuff is so spread out as it is. This actually went faster than we thought it was. Like, yeah, maybe this is a good format. Tell us what you think. Also, if you have like a thing from your childhood about video games or movies or something that was like, this is like the thing for this year, or something that was like a special occasion for you, like our birthday and a good game is for us, talk about it in the comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And before we go, we do want to recommend a thing, since we are a furry and we don't know how many of our audience is familiar with furries in general. There is a great big documentary on YouTube releasing today, the day we post this, at 8 p.m. So like 3 hours after this post. It's called The Fandom, and it's all about the furry fandom, and like is hopefully gonna be something good to educate folks on like what the furry fandom is and what it's not. We talked to our therapist once, and they were like, "Oh, furries, it's just having sex in fursuits," and I was like, "Oh no, I have to educate you on things." And we think it is really cool, and the people who are doing it have been working on it for a while, so it's like been a long time. And we'll have a link in the comments. We'll have a link in the description if you want to check that out. It has like a live premiere or whatnot. But yeah, that's literally it. Remember, no video this Sunday, but next week we'll have a special birthday analysis video. We'll be streaming on our actual birthday, the 11th, at 5 Central Time, here on YouTube, crosscode, and then at 8:30 we'll be streaming Purrfect Apawcalypse till like 11 probably. And we really hope some of y'all can make it. We'll also be answering questions and stuff. thanks for getting this far in the video. If you did, that's really cool of you. We hope you enjoy your weekend.